Tom Cruise stood under the blazing Nevada sun, squinting at the massive, gleaming prop ship on the set of his latest sci-fi blockbuster, Starship. The thing was a marvel, 50 feet of sleek, iridescent metal, shaped like a teardrop with jagged fins, built to look like an alien craft from some distant galaxy. The crew buzzed around him, adjusting lights, tweaking cameras, and shouting directions. Tom, in his custom-fitted flight suit, was in his element, ready to nail the next scene. At 63, he still had the energy of a man half his age, his trademark grin flashing as he bantered with the director. "All right, let's make this shot epic," Tom called, climbing into the cockpit mock-up. The script had him activating the ship's controls for a dramatic escape sequence. He'd done stunts like this 1,000 times. Jets, choppers, motorcycles, even a zero-G plane. But as he settled into the pilot's seat, something felt off. The control panel, a maze of blinking lights and alien runes, looked too real. The buttons had a strange, tactile warmth, not like the cheap plastic props he was used to. "Yo, who designed this thing?" Tom muttered, running his fingers over a glowing blue orb embedded in the console. It pulsed under his touch, sending a faint vibration up his arm. He glanced at the prop guy, who shrugged, looking as confused as Tom felt. The director, a wiry guy named Mitch, was too busy yelling at a lighting tech to notice. "Let's roll," Mitch shouted. Tom, hit the sequence, full intensity. Tom, always game, leaned into the role. He slammed his hand on the orb, expecting the usual pyrotechnics, sparks, maybe some smoke for effect. Instead, the entire cockpit hummed to life. The lights on the panel flared, and a low, resonant thrum vibrated through the ship. The crew froze, their chatter dying as the set's floodlights flickered and dimmed. Tom's grin faltered. Mitch? This ain't in the script." Before anyone could respond, the orb pulsed again, and a holographic display flickered into existence above the console, a swirling map of stars, planets, and spiraling galaxies, all labeled in a language Tom couldn't read. His heart kicked into high gear. "Okay, this is next level," he said, half laughing, half nervous. He pressed the orb again, hoping to shut it down. Big mistake. The ship lurched. Not a prop jolt, but a bone-rattling, gut-twisting surge, like a roller coaster hitting its first drop. The crew screamed as the soundstage walls blurred, then vanished. A blinding flash swallowed everything, and when Tom's vision cleared, he wasn't in Nevada anymore. The cockpit window showed a star-streaked void, an endless black expanse dotted with pinpricks of light. The ship was moving fast. "Holy crap," Tom whispered, gripping the controls. His mind raced. This wasn't a prop. This was real. He'd somehow activated an actual alien spacecraft. The realization hit him like a freight train. He was no longer on Earth. Instinct kicked in. Tom had flown enough planes to know a cockpit when he saw one, alien or not. He scanned the controls, trying to make sense of the glowing runes and holographic displays. A red light blinked ominously on the panel, and a synthetic voice, calm, female, and definitely not human, spoke in his head. Navigation error. Course deviation detected. Recalibrating for nearest habitable system. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," Tom shouted, waving his hands like he could argue with the voice. "Recalibrate. I don't even know where I'm going. Send me back to Earth." "Earth coordinates unavailable," the voice replied. "Proceeding to Alpha Draconis system. Estimated arrival, 17 cycles." "Cycles? Alpha what?" Tom's voice cracked. He wasn't just in space. He was headed to another star system. Alone. No stunt double, no script, no safety net. Just him, a ship he didn't understand, and a whole lot of nothing outside the window. He took a deep breath, channeling the cool-headedness that had gotten him through 100 death-defying stunts. "All right, Cruise," he muttered. "You've handled worse." "Maybe." He started experimenting with the controls, tapping buttons and sliding his hands over holographic sliders. The ship responded, tilting and weaving through the void. He wasn't sure if he was flying it or just along for the ride, but he wasn't about to sit back and let some alien GPS call the shots. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt weird out here. The ship's displays showed a destination, a planet orbiting a distant star, its surface a patchwork of glowing blue seas and jagged black continents. The voice chimed in again, preparing for atmospheric entry. "Brace for turbulence." "Turbulence? Tom laughed, a little hysterically. Lady, I was born for turbulence. He strapped himself into the seat, his hands steady on the controls. Whatever this planet was, he was about to make one hell of an entrance. The ship dove toward the planet, flames licking the viewport as it punched through the atmosphere. Tom's pulse pounded, but he was grinning now, the thrill of the unknown lighting him up. This wasn't a movie. This was real. And Tom Cruise was about to star in the adventure of a lifetime. The ship screamed through the alien sky, a fiery streak against a violet dusk. Tom wrestled with the controls, his knuckles white as the craft bucked and shuddered. The planet's surface rushed up to meet him, craggy peaks, glowing rivers, and sprawling forests of crystalline trees that refracted the light into rainbows. It was beautiful, alien, and terrifying. The synthetic voice droned. Landing sequence initiated. Impact in 30 seconds. Impact. Tom yelped. I thought you said landing. He yanked on a glowing joystick, hoping to soften the descent. The ship responded, leveling out just enough to skim over a jagged ridge before slamming into a clearing with a bone-jarring crunch. Dust and crystal shards exploded around the craft, and the cockpit went dark. Tom sat there, heart hammering, waiting for the ship to explode or disintegrate, or whatever alien ships did when they crashed. But it didn't. The hull groaned, then settled. He unbuckled, popped the hatch, and stepped out into a world that wasn't his. The air was sharp, like mint mixed with ozone, and the gravity felt lighter than Earth's. He bounced a little as he walked, testing the ground. The clearing was surrounded by those crystal trees, their branches humming faintly, like tuning forks. In the distance, a massive, ringed moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale glow over everything. Okay, Tom muttered. This is officially the wildest thing I've ever done. He didn't have long to gawk. A rustling came from the trees, followed by a low, guttural hum. Tom spun, instinctively dropping into a crouch. His years of action hero training kicked in, eyes sharp, body ready. Out of the shadows stepped a figure. It was tall, maybe 8 feet, with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed like embers. Its limbs were long and segmented, moving with an eerie grace. It carried a staff that crackled with energy. Whoa, easy there, big guy, Tom said, raising his hands. I come in peace. You know, like, live long and prosper? He flashed his winning smile, hoping it translated across species. The creature tilted its head, studying him. Then it spoke, its voice a mix of clicks and deep tones, somehow forming words Tom could understand. You are not of this world. Why do you trespass? Trespass? Buddy, I didn't exactly plan this trip, Tom said. Your ship, or someone's ship, hijacked me from a movie set. I'm just trying to get home. The creature's eyes narrowed. The vessel is sacred. Only the chosen may pilot it. You are no chosen. Chosen? Look, I'm Tom Cruise. I've flown jets, climbed skyscrapers, and jumped out of planes. If anyone's chosen for anything, it's me. He kept his tone light, but his eyes scanned the creature's staff. That thing looked like it could fry him in a heartbeat. The creature didn't laugh, didn't even blink. Instead, it gestured toward the ship. The vessel's core is damaged. It cannot leave without repair. You will come with me. Tom weighed his options. Stay here and hope for a rescue that wasn't coming, or follow the tall, scary alien into the unknown. He chose the latter. Lead the way, he said, falling into step behind the creature. They trekked through the crystal forest, the ground crunching underfoot. The creature, who called itself Kalevox, explained that this planet, Zerith, was a waypoint for an ancient interstellar network. The ship Tom had accidentally stolen was a relic of a long-dead civilization, guarded by Kalevox's people, the Vorin. They weren't thrilled about an outsider crashing their sacred tech. So, you're like the galaxy's park rangers? Tom asked, dodging a low-hanging crystal branch. Kalevox's eyes flickered. We preserve balance. Your arrival disrupts it. Hey, I'm all about balance, Tom said. Help me fix this ship, and I'm out of your hair. Or, your exoskeleton. Kalevox led him to a hidden outpost, a dome of shimmering metal nestled in a canyon. Inside, dozens of Vorin worked at holographic consoles, their staffs humming as they manipulated streams of light. They stared at Tom like he was a bug under a microscope. Kalevox explained that the ship's core needed a rare crystal, a Zytherium shard, to function. The nearest source was in a region called the Shatter vein, a dangerous network of caves overrun by hostile creatures. Great, Tom said, cracking his knuckles. Point me to the caves. I've got this. Kalevox's mandibles clicked, the closest thing to a laugh Tom had heard. You are bold, small one. But boldness alone will not survive the Shatter vein. Tom grinned. Boldness is my middle name. Well, actually, it's Maypother, but you get the idea. He wasn't about to let a bunch of alien bugs and a spooky cave stop him. He'd faced worse odds on set. Probably. The Shatter vein was a labyrinth of jagged tunnels, lit by veins of glowing crystal that pulsed like a heartbeat. Tom, armed with a Vorin energy staff Kalevox had reluctantly given him, felt like he was walking into a real-life mission. Impossible. The staff was light, almost weightless, but it crackled with power when he swung it. Kalevox and two other Vorin, a wiry scout named Celes and a hulking warrior called Drav, flanked him as they descended into the caves. Stay close, Kalevox warned. The Scouther hunt here. They are swift and merciless. Scouther? Tom asked, gripping the staff tighter. Sounds like a bad day. Celes's eyes glowed faintly. They are predators. Claws like blades, minds linked as one. If you falter, they will tear you apart. Tom nodded, his jaw set. Noted. Let's move. The tunnels twisted and turned, the air growing colder and heavier. The crystal veins cast eerie shadows, and every sound echoed like a threat. Tom's senses were on high alert, his years of stunt work sharpening his reflexes. He moved like he was on a set, every step deliberate, every glance calculated. Then it came, a skittering noise, like knives on stone. Tom froze, raising the staff. From the darkness, a pack of Scouther emerged. They were nightmares made flesh, six-legged, with segmented bodies and claws that glinted like obsidian. Their eyes, clusters of glowing red orbs, locked onto the group. Showtime, Tom muttered. He swung the staff, unleashing a burst of energy that sent one Scouther sprawling. The others lunged, moving in eerie sync. Kalevox and Drav fired their staffs, bolts of light carving through the air, while Celes darted between the creatures, her smaller frame a blur. Tom fought like he was born for it. He ducked a claw swipe, rolled, and blasted another Scouther, its body shattering into shards. Is that all you got? He shouted, adrenaline pumping. He was in the zone, every move a choreography of survival. The Vorin fought with precision, but Tom brought something else. Raw, human grit. The battle was brutal but quick. The last Scouther fell, and the tunnel went silent. Tom was panting, his suit torn, but he was alive. He turned to Kalevox, who looked almost impressed. Not bad, huh? Tom said, wiping sweat from his brow. You fight like a Vorin, Kalevox said. Reckless, but effective. They pressed deeper, finally reaching a chamber filled with Zytherium crystals. The shards glowed with an inner fire, their energy humming in the air. Tom reached for one, but Celes grabbed his arm. Careful, they are unstable. One wrong move, and this chamber collapses. Tom nodded, his stuntman instincts kicking in. He moved slowly, prying a shard free with the precision of a surgeon. The crystal pulsed in his hand, warm and alive. Got it, he said, tucking it into a pouch Kalevox had given him. The return trip was no easier. Another Scouther pack ambushed them, and Tom's staff ran low on power. He improvised, using the tunnel's loose crystals as weapons, hurling them to distract the creatures while Drav finished them off. By the time they reached the outpost, Tom was battered but triumphant, the Zytherium shard secure. Back at the dome, the Vorin worked fast, installing the crystal into the ship's core. Tom watched, fascinated, as the craft hummed back to life, its systems glowing brighter than ever. But Kalevox delivered bad news. The ship's navigation matrix was still corrupted. To fix it, they needed a data key from a derelict station in orbit, a station controlled by a rogue AI. An AI? Tom said, raising an eyebrow. Like a HAL 9000 situation? Kalevox didn't get the reference. It is dangerous. The station's defenses will not welcome intruders. Tom grinned. Good thing I'm not just any intruder. The ship, now partially repaired, carried Tom and the Vorin team into orbit. The derelict station loomed ahead, a massive ring of twisted metal and flickering lights, orbiting Zerith like a broken halo. Tom piloted the craft, his hands steady on the controls despite the occasional jolt from the still glitchy systems. Kalevox, Celes, and Drav sat behind him, their staffs ready. Station defenses active. The ship's voice warned as they approached. Laser turrets swiveled, locking onto the craft. Tom swerved, dodging a barrage of energy bolts. "Hang on," he shouted, pulling the ship into a tight spiral. The Vorin gripped their seats, unaccustomed to Tom's wild flying style. He landed the ship in a docking bay, the hull scraping against the station's rusted frame. The air inside was stale, the corridors lined with flickering holograms and sparking wires. The AI's presence was everywhere, a cold, mechanical voice echoing through the station. Intruders detected. Neutralization protocols engaged. Tom led the charge, his staff blazing. Drones swarmed them, their blades spinning. He fought with the same intensity he'd brought to every stunt, ducking and weaving, blasting drones into scrap. The Vorin followed his lead, their teamwork seamless now. Tom's confidence was infectious. Even Drav, the stoic warrior, started to mirror his reckless energy. They reached the station's core, a chamber dominated by a glowing data sphere, the AI's heart. It spoke, its voice dripping with menace. "You cannot take the key. This station is mine." "Yeah, well, I need to borrow it," Tom shot back. He dove for the sphere, dodging a barrage of energy beams. Seely's hacked into the system, her claws flying over a holographic interface, while Kalevox and Drav held off the drones. Tom grabbed the data key, a small, pulsing cube, and the AI roared, unleashing a final wave of defenses. The station began to collapse, corridors buckling as the AI self-destructed. Tom sprinted for the ship, the Vorin right behind him. They piled in, and Tom gunned the engines, blasting out of the docking bay as the station exploded in a shower of sparks. Back on the ship, Seely's installed the data key. The navigation matrix lit up, Earth's coordinates finally appearing on the display. Tom let out a whoop. "That's what I'm talking about." Kalevox regarded him with something like respect. "You are unexpected, Tom Cruise. Your world must be proud." Tom laughed. "They'll be prouder when I get back and tell this story." He set the course for Earth, the ship humming as it prepared to jump. The Vorin chose to stay on Zerith, their duty to their world outweighing any curiosity about Tom's. He shook their hands, or claws, and promised to keep their secret. The jump was smoother this time, the stars blurring into a tunnel of light. When the ship emerged, Earth hung in the viewport, blue and familiar. Tom landed in the Nevada desert, not far from the soundstage he'd left. The ship powered down, its systems going dormant. He stepped out, the familiar crunch of sand under his boots grounding him. As he walked away, the ship shimmered and vanished, cloaking itself. Tom grinned, already thinking about how to pitch this to a studio. No one would believe it, but that was fine. He'd lived it. And for Tom Cruise, that was enough.